are going to know about what is Docker. So Docker is a powerful tool that helps developer build, ship, and run application by packaging everything the application needs into something called a container. As you know, we learned about what is container in our previous video. So as a recap, think container as a box that holds your application along with this dependency, so it ensures that it can run the same way no matter where it is deployed. So oh, sorry, I'm not showing the slide. So this is the slide. As I said, the definition, what is Docker. So the problem is why we need Docker. So as you can see, we face some compatibility issues where let's imagine we are trying to bake a cake, but one recipe calls for baking powder, another calls for something baking soda. So if you are using the wrong one, the cake won't turn out right. So if you use yeast instead of baking powder, then your cake will get ruined. So similar to the application we are building, different parts of an application might need different software components, and getting them work together is quite complicated and it can be tricky. So if you do not know how to do it properly and what sort of software is needed, your whole development process will shatter. And Docker comes in a lifesaver for us because it comes built in functionalities and dependencies so that we can instantly spawn or use it as long as you want. So as you can see, it can set up complex setup for new developers. So if I were to do Django setup locally in my PC, it would take a quite time to figure it out. But if I use Docker personally, then it will do everything for me. I will just click the Django image in the Docker, then it will instantly install the or build the functionalities and this dependency of latest version. And I can also select which Django version I want to deploy in my machine. So it solves the setup issue. And similarly, uh, if you are a newbie, so setting up a development environment without Docker can lead to many errors that you do not know how to decode or debug. So Docker helps you to guide through the whole process so that you do not feel overwhelmed. So as you can see, as I told, there can be inconsistent environment if you are trying to build it from the scratch. So it's like practicing a play on one stage, then performing it on another stage with different lighting and prompts. So things might not go as planned because the environment are not same. But so Docker ensures that nothing is wrong. So let's move on to a new topic, which is how these problems are solved through Docker. So these isolated containers for each component allows you to run each part of your application in its own container. So it has its own separate box, and each box contains every component you need. So you do not need to worry about the food mixing or the app getting sorry, it's like I'm giving an example of a cooking experience. Like you do not need to worry that the components are not getting ruined or it's getting mixed and matched and it is spoiling everything. No, everything is in a separate container, so it doesn't ruin the overall progress, as each part of your app is isolated, so one does not interfere another. And as you can see, it creates a simplified development setup process for the newbies. As you can see, Docker handles all the complex details and setups, so they do not need to worry about which operating system or software version they are using. So it's like a magic button which does everything for you, and it sets everything up perfectly. And there is as I said mentioned before, the inconsistent environment. So the Docker ensures consistent environment throughout everything and everywhere. So you do not need to worry about anything, or into unexpected bugs are very less, as it reduces the complexity through Docker. And as you see, we know how proper execution of Docker can help us solve these problems. So let's know about the containers. Let's do a short recap. Think of container as a virtual room in a house. Each room containers have the same host operating system, but they run independently. So understanding Docker is very important because it is kind of container based system, and Docker makes the container very user friendly. And if you've been around containers for a while, then setting up them is quite easy if you know how to manage and create it. So it's like having a decorator and sets up everything for you. And let's know something interesting, which is the difference between container and virtual machine. As I said, the key difference between a virtual machine and containerization is like virtual machine is the full apartment with complete amenities, and it is selfly content, and it takes a lot of space as it is a very heavy weighted virtualization. On the other hand, a container of Docker is very lightweighted as it shares a single host operating system, and they also share the kernel. So it is very lightweighted and space efficient, so we do not need to worry about anything, as it makes more quicker to set and easier to develop an app through it. Let's know why containers are efficient. As we know now that containers use the same kernel and the same operating system, they have the same host server, and they do not need to require any additional resources like hypervisor. They can use their limited resources and do the work in less time and much more faster. So it makes us rethink our decision and to select containerization system like Docker for easy deployment. And new developers are prone to this technology, so they can do the development process much more easier. So in real life with Docker, you can easily run different parts of your app. It's like having a web server, database, or messaging system by using a simple command. So as you can see, the Docker commands are very easy, so you do not have to worry about the compatibility and configuration. Let's know why Docker is a game changer, because we know that with Docker you can easily run different parts of your application like web server, database, managing system, and anything with just a simple command. So Docker handles the whole setup thing, so you do not have to worry about the configuration and any other whatsoever. Docker has a own public repo which is called Docker Hub, where you can get this application as an image. So you pull an image and instantly develops that container with that application environment. So usually developer faces that it runs on my machine, it does not run on yours, so it solves that issue. On the other hand, Docker is a game changer because it brings developers and operation teams closer by allowing them to collaborate. Docker container can run on any system, whether it's your laptop or server on the cloud. And moreover, the most prominent thing is the efficiency, because they can utilize fewer resources and compared to traditional virtual machine, as they are sharing the same hosting operating system and their kernel. So it can avoid inconsistent environment and ensures consistent environment throughout anywhere. And it's like having a standardized recipe that guarantees that your app will be wonderful no matter where it is deployed. So we do not need to worry. So And we can come to a conclusion that Docker makes app development and deployment much easier by solving common problems like setup complexity, inconsistent environment, and compatibility. So it is a very powerful tool which helps team work together effectively and ensures that application can run no matter where they are deployed. So that's all for you, and we will know about something new in our next video. Stay tuned. Thanks for staying by, and don't forget to like and subscribe.